Hi, how's everyone doing today? Hi, Wasabi. Good morning. Good morning. I got some. Why do I get so much? I'm getting lag. For some reason, I got chat lag, so I got lag. But I see you. I see you. You're there. Good morning. Good morning. Guten Fahrt. Guten Morgen, everyone. So last week, I couldn't concentrate on reading for the story time. I couldn't word properly. My brain could not translate the words properly, the written word properly. So today we're gonna start over and continue from the last story we left off. Well, not continue. We're gonna redo the story we left off. I got lag. I got some chat lag. So I got a little bit of chat lag. So I see you, and I will answer when I can, when I can. But yeah. So we're gonna restart the Red-Headed League. We tried to read it last week, but for some reason my brain couldn't translate written word. So we're going to do that. We're gonna read today. So hope you are comfy. I hope you got some snacks. I hope you're nice, nice, comfy, cozy, and we'll be reading. How are you doing, Wasabi? How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well, buddy. I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope you're doing well. It's disgusting today. It is very humid. It's very hot. It's going to be it was thunderstorming all last night, and it's going to be thunderstorming today. So that's going to be fun for me. I'm already worn out because of all this heat and humidity. So yeah. So it's going to be a chill time. It's going to be a chill time. So we're going to continue with our boy Sherlock Holmes, and reread the Red-Headed League. Let me get my glasses on. Usually I take them off so that way that way my eye tracking isn't wonky, because it can be a little wonky when I wear my glasses, but they're dirty. Hold on. Glasses are dirty. I'm good. I played Kenshin. It took me an hour not to figure out how to play. I feel that. I'd be doing the same thing too. Sometimes tutorials just take too long when it comes to a game, so I just say fluff it and figure it out as I go along. So, I feel that. Alright, so we're gonna continue. We're gonna redo the story from last week, the Red-Headed League. You comfy? You cozy? You got your snacks? I hope you so. I have me some water. I had breakfast. I finished breakfast 2 minutes before the stream started. I finished my breakfast 2 minutes before the stream started, so I'm still trying to get Make sure I'm not like burping or anything or hiccuping because I ate kind of fast. There aren't any tutorials. It plops you in the world and you have to do your own story. Ah, okay. It's one of those games. And I'll be like, here you go, figure it out. I like those kind of games though, because I do like figuring things out on my own sometimes. It's like a Mountain Blade kind of. Oh, okay. Alright, so we're gonna get into it. The Red-Headed League. Also, hold on, let me get my inhaler real quick, because this humidity triggers my asthma. Something terrible. Give me 1 second. I forgot to grab it. And I can have it just in case. Yes, Bean. Good morning, pretty girl. Beans just woke up. She was sleeping in her little spot for the longest. My kids are not doing so great with the hot weather either. Like for them, it's just as bad as it is for me. They don't do well in the heat either. Hi, Sarah. Hello. Got a little chat lag, but I see you. And good morning, girl. Oh, look at Beans. She's saying good morning. Hi, pretty girl. You're just waking up, because usually you have a ritual with Beans specifically. Anytime I wake up in the morning, or she... Oh, God, you're such a brute, madam. And you're knocking down all my teddy bears. Good job. We have a ritual in the morning where she jumps onto my bed and gets all her pets, but because she woke up late. I woke up fairly on time. Now she's sitting here and getting all her pets. And knocking down all my plushies off my table, because she likes having the space to herself. Right? Is that right, ma'am? My pretty girl. Oh my goodness. Oh, guys, I wish you could see her. She just loves to knock my stuff down and then just get just all up in everything. Right, ma'am? You're just all up in everything. Pretty girl. Such a pretty girl. Alright. Do you mind if I start telling my story? You gonna sit and chill here while I tell my story, pretty girl? Yeah? You're a good girl? Yeah? Not like your brother who's been a troublemaker lately? Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna sit there. You're gonna chill. Yep. She's such a brute. That's one thing her and her brother have in common. They're such brutes. When they want to lay down, they just kind of plop. They don't have no grace. She has a lot of grace, but when it comes to like wanting to get pet, she doesn't have any grace. She just flops. Bonjour, Kakarot. Bonjour. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I was about to start with a story, but then my cat decided she wanted attention. So, yes. Beans. You're a pretty girl. You're such a pretty girl. You gonna chill right here with me? Yeah? Okay. But it means hello and also means good morning. It's strange. I mean, it's apropos considering it's the morning time for me. Pretty girl. What do you know? Beans just wants a lot of attention right now. I didn't give her usual morning attention because she just woke up. Poor thing. It's been so hot for both of them. They've been sleeping a lot more. Oh, I made them okay, so I have a catnip plant, right? You guys, those of you who know, I like to garden, and I have an indoor garden. So I have some catnip that's growing wild. So lately I've been pruning my catnip as it grows like a weed, and I've been hanging the leaves to dry so that I could have a jar of dried catnip for them whenever they want to go a little goofy. And oh my goodness, you're gonna fall off the table. Oh my goodness, the preening. Okay, let me move those out of your way so you don't hurt yourself. That's a good girl. Your cat loves you. That's the only reason they interrupt you. Yeah, my cats love me. I know my cats love me because I take good care of them. I've been taking care of them since they were babies. Alright, pretty girl. You're rubbing up all against my stuff. You're getting cat hair on everything. Yeah? Isn't that uncomfortable? She likes to lay on stuff and it looks so uncomfortable. And I don't know why. One time I try to move it, she gets all angry at me. Cat seeking attention is sort of toxic. Red flags. Nah, she's just a very affectionate girl. I'm doing good. I have an exam tomorrow. I'll just munch on some sweet corn, so you can say I'm corny today. But I love that. I'm doing alright today. Woke up, had breakfast, here I am. Now my girl wants attention. Are you gonna chill here with me while I read stories, ma'am? Are you? Are you? Are you? Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna continue. We're gonna redo the story that we tried to read last week. Because like I said, for some reason, the written word did not translate in my brain last week, so I gave up on it. So today we're gonna read. So I hope you guys have your snacks. You're nice and comfy, cozy, and we're gonna read. Beans, will you let me read now? Let me read. Aww. Okay. The Red-Headed League. I had called upon my friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, one day in autumn of last year, and found him in deep conversation with a very stout, florid-faced, elderly gentleman with fiery red hair. With an apology for my intrusion, I was about to withdraw, when Holmes pulled me abruptly to the room and closed the door behind me. You could not possibly have come at a better time, my dear Watson, he said cordially. I was afraid you were engaged. So I am, very much so. Then I can wait in the next room. Not at all. This gentleman, Mr. Wilson, has been my partner and helper in many of my most successful cases, and I have no doubt he will be of the utmost use to me and yours also. The stout gentleman half rose from his chair and gave a bob of greeting, with a quick little questioning glance from his small, fat, encircled eyes. Try the settee, said Holmes, relapsing into his armchair and putting his fingertips together, as was his custom when in judicial moods. I know, my dear Watson, that you share my love of all that is bizarre and outside of the conventions and humdrum routines of everyday life. You have shown your relish for it by the enthusiasm which has prompted you to chronicle and, if you will excuse me saying so, somewhat embellish so many of my own little adventures. Your cases have indeed been the greatest interest to me, I observed. You will remember, You will remember that I remarked the other day, just before we went to the very simple problem presented by Miss Mary Sutherland, that for strange effects and extraordinary combinations we must go to life itself, which is always far more daring than any effort of the imagination. A proposition which I took the liberty of doubting. You did, Doctor, but nonetheless, you must come around to my view, for otherwise I shall keep piling fact upon fact on you, until your reason breaks down under them and acknowledges me to be right. Now, Mr. Jabez Wilson here has been good enough to call upon me this morning, and to begin a narrative which promises to be one of the most singular which I have listened to for some time. You have heard me remark that the strangest and most unique things are often connected not with the larger but with the smaller crimes, and occasionally, indeed, where there is room for doubt whether any positive crime has been committed. As far as I've heard, it is impossible for me to say whether the present case is an instance of crime or not, but the course of events is certainly among the most singular that I have listened to. Perhaps, Mr. Wilson, you would have the great kindness to recommence your narrative. I ask you not merely because of my friend Dr. Watson has not heard the opening part, but also because the peculiar nature of the story makes me anxious to have every possible detail from your lips. As a rule, when I have heard some slight indication of the course of events, I am able to guide myself by the thousands of other similar cases which occur to my memory. In the present instance, I am forced to admit that the facts are, to the best of my belief, unique. The portly client puffed at his chest with an appearance of some little pride and pulled a dirty and wrinkled newspaper from the inside pocket of his greatcoat. As he glanced down the advertisement column, with his head thrust forward and the paper flattened out upon his knee, I took a good look at the man, and endeavored after a fashion of my companion to read the indications which might be present by his dress or appearance. I did not gain very much, however, by my inspection. Our visitor bore every mark of being an average commonplace British tradesman, obese, pompous, and slow. He wore rather baggy gray shepherd's check trousers, a not overly clean black frock coat, unbuttoned in the front, and a drab waistcoat with a heavy brassy Albert chain, and a square-piece bit of metal dangling down as an ornament. A frayed top hat and faded brown overcoat with a wrinkled velvet collar. Ma'am, not the keyboard, please, and thank you. Jeez. She tried to walk on the keyboard. Bye. She laughed. She oh my goodness. She got up. I was petting her. She got up and decided, I want to walk on the keyboard. Nope. Silly girl. Anyway. A frayed top hat and a faded brown overcoat with a wrinkled velvet collar lay upon a chair beside him. Altogether, look as I would, there was nothing remarkable of the man save for his blazing red hair and the expression of extreme chagrin and discontent upon his features. Sherlock Holmes' quick eye took in my occupation, and he shook his head with a smile as he noticed my questioning glances. Beyond the obvious fact that he had some time done manual labor, that he takes snuff, that he's a Freemason, and that he has been in China, and that he has done a considerable amount of writing lately, I can deduce nothing else. Mr. Jabez Wilson started up in his chair with his forefinger upon the paper, but his eyes upon my companion. How, in the name of good fortune, did you know that, Mr. Holmes? He asked. How did you know, for example, that I did manual labor? It is true as gospel, and I began as a ship's carpenter. Your hands, my dear sir. Your right hand is quite a size larger than your left. You have worked with... Hi, Beans, you're back. Okay. She just wants attention from Mom today. I.e. me. She wants my attention. Your hands, dear sir. Your right hand is quite a size larger than your left. You have worked with, and the muscles are... You have worked with it, and the muscles are more developed. Well, the snuff, then, and the Freemasonry. I won't insult your intelligence by telling you how I read that, especially as, rather than the strict rules of your order, you used an arc and compass breastpin. Ah, of course, I forgot that. But the writing? What else can be indicated by the right cuff so very shiny for 5 inches, and the left one with smooth patch near the elbow where you rest upon the desk? Well, but China. The fish you have tattooed immediately above your right wrist could only have been done in China. I have made a small study of tattoo marks, and have even contributed to the literature of the subject. That trick of staining the fish's scales of a delicate pink is quite peculiar to China. When, in addition, I see a Chinese coin hanging from your watch chain, the matter becomes even more simple. Mr. Jabez Wilson laughed heavily. Well, I never, he said. I thought at first you had done something clever, but I see that there was nothing in it at all. I begin to think, Watson, said Holmes, that I make a mistake in explaining omne ignotum pro magnifico, you know, and my poor little reputation, such as it is, will suffer shipwreck if I am so candid. Can you not find the advertisement, Mr. Wilson? Yes, I've got it now, he answered, with his thick red finger planted halfway down the column. Here it is. This is what began it all. You must read it for yourself, sir. I took the paper from him and read as follows. To the Red-Headed League, on account of the bequest of the late Ezekiah Hopkins, of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, USA, there is now another vacancy open which entitles a member of the League to a salary of £4 a week for purely nominal services. All red-headed men who are sound in body and mind, and above the age of 21 years, are eligible. Apply in person on Monday at 11 o'clock to Duncan Ross at the offices of the League, 7 Pope's Court, Fleet Street. What on earth does this mean? I ejaculated after having twice read over the extraordinary announcement. Holmes chuckled and wriggled in his chair, as was his habit when he in high spirits. It is a little off the beaten track, isn't it? He said. And now, Mr. Wilson, off you go at scratch, and tell us all about yourself, your household, and the effect which this advertisement had upon your fortunes. You will first make a note, Doctor, of the paper and the date. It is the Morning Chronicle of April 27, 1890. Just 2 months ago. Very good. Now, Mr. Wilson. Well, it is just as I have been telling you, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, said Jabez Wilson, mopping his forehead. I have a small pawnbroker's business in Coburg Square, near the city. It is not a very large affair, and as of late it has not done more than just give me a living. I used to be able to keep 2 assistants, but now I only keep 1. And I would have a job to pay him, but that he is willing to come up for half wages, so as to learn the business. What is the name of this obliging youth? Asked Sherlock Holmes. His name is Vincent Spaulding. He's not such a youth either. It's hard to say his age. I should not wish a smarter assistant, Mr. Holmes, and I know very well that he could better himself and earn twice what I am able to give him. After all, if he is satisfied, why should I put ideas in his head? Why, indeed. You seem most fortunate in having an employee who comes under the full market price. It is not a common experience among employers at this age. I don't know that your assistant is not as remarkable as you advertise. Oh, he has his faults too, said Mr. Wilson. Never was such a fellow for photography, snapping away with a camera when he ought to be improving his mind, and then diving down into the cellar like a rabbit into its hole to develop his pictures. That is his main fault, but on the whole he's a good worker. There is no vice in him. He's still with you, I presume? Yes, sir. He and a girl of 14 who does a bit of simple cooking and keeps the place clean. That is all I have in the house, for I am a widower and never had any family. We live very quietly, sir, the three of us, and we keep a roof over our heads and pay our debts if we do nothing more. The first thing that puts us out was the advertisement. Spaulding. He came down into the office just 8 weeks. Just this day, 8 weeks with this very paper in his hands, and says, "I wish to the Lord, Mr. Wilson, that I was a red-headed man." Why is that? I asked. Why, he says, here's another vacancy on the League of the Red-Headed Men. It's worth quite a little fortune to any man who gets it. I understand that there are more vacancies than there are men, so that the trustees are at their wits' end what to do with the money. If my hair will only change color, here's a nice little crib all ready for me to step into. Why, what is it then? I asked. You see, Mr. Holmes, I am a very stay-at-home man, and as my business came to me instead of my having to go to it, I was often weeks on end without putting my foot over the doormat. In that way, I didn't know much of what was going on outside, and I was always glad to have a bit of news. Have you never heard of the League of the Red-Headed Men? He asked, with his eyes open. Never. Why, I wonder at that, for you're eligible yourself for one of those vacancies. And what are they worth? I asked. Oh, merely a couple of $100 a year. But the work is slight, and it need not interfere much with one's other occupations. Well, you can easily think that made me prick up my ears, for the business has not been going over good for some years, and an extra couple of $100 would have been very handy. Tell me about it, I said. Well, he says, showing me the advertisement. You can see for yourself that the League has a vacancy, and there's the address where you should apply for particulars. As far as I can make out, the League was founded by an American millionaire, Ezekiah Hopkins, who was very peculiar in his ways. He was himself red-headed. He had a great sympathy for all red-headed men, so when he died, it was found that he had left his enormous fortune in the hands of trustees, with instructions to apply the interest to the providing of easy berths to men whose hair is of that color. From all I hear, it is splendid pay, and very little to do so. But, I said, there would be millions of red-headed men who would apply. Not so many as you may think, he answered. You see, it is really confined to Londoners and to grown men. This American had started from London when he was young. He wanted to do the old town a good turn. Then again, I have heard it's no use you applying if your hair is a light red or dark red or anything but a real bright, blazing, fiery red. Now, if you care to apply, Mr. Wilson, you would just walk in, but perhaps it would hardly be worth your while to put yourself out of the way for the sake of a few £100. Now, it is a fact, gentlemen, as you may see for yourselves, that my hair is a very full and rich tint, so that it may seem to me that, if there was any competition in the matter, I stood as good a chance as any man that I have ever met. Vincent Spaulding seemed to know as much about it than I thought he might prove useful, so I just ordered him to put up the shutters for the day, and to come right away with me. He was very willing to have a holiday, so we shut the business up, and started off for the address given to us in the advertisement. Where was I? Yes. And I never hope to see such a sight as that again, Mr. Holmes. From north, south, east, and west, every man who had a shade of red in his hair trampled in the city to answer the advertisement. Fleet Street was choked up with red-headed folk, and Pope's Court looked like a coaster's orange borough. I should not have thought there were so many in the whole country as were brought together by that single advertisement. Every shade of color there were: straw, lemon, orange, brick, Irish setter, liver, clay. But as Spaulding said, there were not so many who had the real vivid red flame-colored tint. When I saw how many were waiting, I would have given up in despair, but Spaulding would not hear of it. How he didn't, I could not imagine, but he pushed and pulled and butted until he got me through the crowd and right up the steps which led to the office. There was a double stream upon their stair, some going up in hope and some coming back dejected. But we were wedged in as well as we could, and soon found ourselves in the office. Your experience has been a most entertaining one, remarked Holmes, as his client paused to refresh his memory with a huge pinch of snuff. Pray continue your very interesting statement. There was nothing in the office but a couple of wooden chairs and a deal table, behind which sat a small man with a head that was even redder than mine. He said a few words to each candidate as he came up, and then he always managed to find some fault. To find some fault in them, which would disqualify them. Getting a vacancy did not seem to be such a very easy matter after all. However, when our turn came, the little man was more favorable to me than any of the others, and he closed the door as we entered, so that he may have a private word with us. This is Mr. Jabez Wilson, said my assistant, and he is willing... Oh. Beans is still here. He came back for more pits. Okay, you're done? Are you done, ma'am? Are you done with the pets? Okay, bye. Yep, there she goes. So I'm gonna continue studying. Good luck with the Sherlock stuff. Oh, I didn't know that Beebs can cough like a human. Man, she tried dubbing characters. That's it's one of the assistants. They are sick, so we let them sleep in the spare room upstairs here with us. Poor thing, she got like an infection, so she's very sick. Poor thing. So we're letting her stay. One, not to contaminate the other assistants downstairs, and two, just to make sure it's not anything that is a concern, like infectious, disease-worthy, supernatural, all that fun stuff. So that's one of those poor assistants. I do hope she feels better. She does cough like a man, though. That's just like, oh. Anywho. Let me continue reading. Getting a vacancy did not seem to be a very easy matter at all. However, when our turn came, the little man was more favorable to me than the others, and he closed the door as we entered, so that he might have a private word with us. This is Mr. Jabez Wilson, said my assistant, and he is willing to fill the vacancy in the league. And he is admirably suited for it, said the others. He has every requirement, and I cannot recall when I had seen anything so fine. He took a step backwards, cocked his head to one side, and gazed at my hair until I felt quite bashful. Then suddenly he plunged forward, rubbed my hand, and congratulated me warmly on my success. Oh, that makes sense anyway. Bye. I do hope she gets better. Bye, Kakarot. I see you later. And yes, I do hope she gets better as well. Yes. Then he suddenly plunged forward, wrung my hand, and congratulated me warmly on my success. It would be injustice to hesitate, he said. You will, however, I am sure, excuse me for taking an obvious precaution. With that, he seized my hair in both hands and tugged until I yelled with pain. There is water in your eyes, he said, and then he released me. I perceived that all is as it should be, but we have to be careful, for we have twice been deceived by wigs and once by paint. I could tell you of cobbler's wax, which would disgust you with human nature. He stepped over to the window and shouted through it at the top of his voice that the vacancy was filled. A groan of disappointment came from below, and the folks all trooped away in different directions until there was not a red-headed man to be seen, except my own, and that of the manager. My name, he said, is Mr. Duncan Ross, and I am myself one of the pensioners upon the fund left by our noble benefactor. Are you a married man, Mr. Wilson? Have you a family? I answered that I had not. His face fell immediately. Dear me, he said gravely. That is very serious indeed. I'm sorry to hear you say that. The fund was, of course, for the propagation and spread of the redheads, as well as for their maintenance. It is exceedingly unfortunate you should be a bachelor. My face lengthened at this, Mr. Holmes, for I thought that I would not have the vacancy after all. But after thinking it was over for a few minutes, he said that it would be all right. In the case of another, he said, the objection might be fatal, but it must stretch to a point in favor of a man with such a head of hair as yours. When shall you be able to enter upon your new duties? Well, it is a little awkward, for I have a business already, I said. Oh, never mind about that, Mr. Wilson, said Vincent, scolding. I shall be able to look after that for you. What will be the hours, I asked. 10 to 2. Now, a pawnbroker's business is mostly done of an evening, Mr. Holmes. I'm gonna go check on our assistant, make sure they're not dying. That sounds painful. Give me 1 second. Alright, they are doing, the assistant's doing alright. She's just coughing. I had to make sure she was doing okay and not dying. She's doing alright. Alright, let's go. Okay, there we go. Where was I? Here we go. Now, a pawnbroker's business is mostly done of an evening, Mr. Holmes. Especially Thursday and Friday evening.